Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Some months ago, I did a video on tiny details about the Lutterloh pattern making system. That video is old, and in this video is a kind of is a better version of that video because there are some things I mentioned in that other video that I'm going to mention here, and there are some things I did not mention in that other video. So let's go straight and let us look at things that you can do that can help you as a beginner when you are using the Lutterloh pattern making system. They are really very, very tiny details that you need to look at that will make you trace out the patterns of the Lutterloh pattern making system using just your two measurements. Now let's go straight to the board, and I'm going to illustrate what I am talking about. Now, this is the Lutterloh package. Comes with a catalog and two acrylic rulers. Mine is old. I've been using it for years and it works perfectly for me. So this is the acrylic rulers. And behind the container of the rulers, they actually illustrate and show you how you can use each of those rulers when you're tracing your patterns. They show you where to use which of those rulers, as you can see on the packet of the acrylic ruler. This is the catalog, and this catalog comes with about 280 fashion styles. 280 fashion styles. Each style has its own pattern behind it for you to trace it out. And of course, it comes with a special tape, special Lutterloh tape. It's a cellophane or a plaster that you will use when you're doing your tracing, and of course a marker. This is a very special Lutterloh tape, which if you look at most of my videos, you see how it is being used. But apart from that, the catalog also illustrates really how you can use it. It shows you the first page, how you can use the special tape, the special Lutterloh tape, to trace the patterns. What I am particular about really is this page. This is called the symbols page. Let me bring it out. This page is very important when you are tracing any pattern in the Lutterloh. This page is so important. You can see some alphabets here. You can see some double alphabets here. You can see some symbols right here. Every single thing means something, and you need it whenever you're tracing any of the patterns. It is good you always lay this symbol page beside you, which I will illustrate in as I'm going to trace one of the patterns and we are going to sew it. It is always good you put this beside you. It's important. So, and apart from that, if you look at the catalog, apart from this, if you look at the catalog, it also tells you how to sew your seam to your cloth, how to sew your sleeves to your cloth, how to make a two-piece sleeve, and how to sew it to the head of your sleeve, and things like that. A lot of details here, especially if you're a beginner in sewing. It is so important. If you look at it, there's a lot of details that they tell you how to do. They tell you how you can place your patterns after you've traced them, and then that means you can manage your materials very well. They show you how to place your patterns. So that is part of the Lutterloh catalog. So as I was saying, let's say you want to trace this pattern. You want to sew this set of dress now. If you look below here, if you look below right here, you see something like UU. Then you see 130 by 150 cm. This 130 by 150 cm is simply the quantity of material you're going to use. It's going to be a material that is 130 by 150 centimeters volume of material you're going to use for this particular UU. Now, what is UU? That brings us to this symbol. You go to this symbol, you search for UU, and UU is right here. You can see it. UU is here, and that means jacket. See how important it is, especially if you're a beginner. The UU stands for jacket. So once you see UU down there, it means that you need 130 to 150 centimeter material to be able to sew this jacket. That's what it means. So that is why I said you really, really need the symbols page, because this really explains a lot for you. And if you look down once again, you'll find out that there's a symbol here, Z. And you need 135 by 150 centimeter of material. Z, if you look at the symbols page, Z right here stands for trousers. So you now know that the Z is for the trouser, and you now know the volume of material to use for this particular trouser. Then number 2 is pattern for this second pattern. It also tells you what you're going to use, and also tells you what you're going to use for the trouser. So you can see that these details are very, very important. They are very important, these details. And you need to look at it first before you say you want to trace anything on the Lutterloh pattern, because it will help you to know exactly how to start it. Now that you want to trace this particular one, if we turn to the back, these are all the patterns you need to trace the pattern 1 and pattern 2. These are everything that you need. This is what you need. Now, if you look at it, as a beginner, it will look a little complicated and you wonder, what is all this? That is where the special tape comes in. If you look at this particular pattern, let's look at this pattern. You see a lot of alphabets written there. D, S, T, A, AC, VM. A lot of alphabets, if you look at it. You look at it, UU, 1 plus 2. You know what the UU stands for. We've looked at it. It stands for the top. Let me look at it. UU stands for jacket. Stands for a jacket. And that means that this page is showing you jacket for pattern 1 and pattern 2. So that's what this means now. Jacket for pattern 1 and pattern 2. So everything that has to do with the jackets for pattern 1 and 2, you see it in this section of the Lutterloh. So coming close, once you've done all your tracing, if you don't know how to trace, don't worry, I have a link below where I'm going to trace a simple blouse and you're going to really appreciate what I'm talking about. For every pattern, you see an X. If you look at it, for every pattern, there's an X. That is where you're going to be putting the pin on the tape. You might not understand what I mean now, but I need you to maybe understand what I'm talking about now. And then when I'm doing the pattern proper and tracing it, you understand what I'm talking about. This X is very important when you're tracing your pattern. Every pattern has an X place where you're going to place your pin to trace your pattern. Now, after tracing your pattern, it is very important that you transfer all these alphabets you see, because it's very important. It will help you when you're joining your side seams to your main seam, or you're joining your sleeves to your seam, or you're joining your collar or whatever. Everything is very important because this will help you. And whatever you see here means something in the symbols page. For instance, if you look at AC, let's look at AC here. What does AC stands for? A stands for front. You can see the A stands for front and C stands for side. So if you have A, C, simply means front side. As you can see, front side. So when you have AC here, it simply means this is the side of the front piece of the pattern. That's what it means. And here, also stands for the front of the pattern. So everything means something. ST here, as you can see, if we go and look for ST right here, ST right here stands for facing. You can see it, ST, facings. So you now understand why you must have this symbols page beside you whenever you're tracing any of this. The symbols page must be beside you because it's important. It will help you to label your patterns so that you do not make any mistake when you are joining your patterns together. So finally, apart from the alphabets that is on this symbols page, you can also see some lines. You can find some lines on this page. If you look at it, and each of these lines means something. If you see such lines on the pattern, you have an idea of what it means. Straight line means a straight grain. Folded line means that you cut on a fold. And then you have the cutting line, you have the gathers, you have the top stitch, you have the elastic, facing, and zipper. So if you look at a particular pattern, like this same pattern, I bring it back again. If you see something like this folded line, you know that that is you cut on a fold. That means when you're placing this pattern on your material, you're going to place it on a fold. And then if you see something like this, you know that you're going to need a facing. That's apart from cutting your pattern, you're going to cut a facing just around this area. So essentially, that is what it means. These little numbers or letters that you see, as you can see here, they write here 2. So that means you're going to cut 2 pieces of this. You're going to cut 2 pieces of this. And then if you look again, they write here B and they wrote here B. It simply means when you're joining this to this. So at first glance, it looks so complicated, but it's not. I just believe after all these explanations, you find out that it's not as complicated as it looks. It's quite simple once you have the symbols page with you. I think that is all there is to it. And in my next video, I'm really actually going to practicalize what I have shown you in this particular video. I hope that has helped you, or that will help you as a beginner using the Lutterloh pattern making system. The reason I love the system is that it particularly helps a beginner. There are people that love sewing, but they're not very good in mathematics, especially all the calculations that come with sewing a suit or making a dress for yourself. Comes with a lot of mathematics. So the Lutterloh pattern making system takes away all the maths, so that all you need is 2 measurements, your bust and your hip measurements. I hope this video will help you a lot, and stay tuned for my next video where we are going to trace a particular pattern from beginning to end and sew it. And then we are going to use the symbols page so that you see how very simple it is to use it and make a dress. Thank you for watching to the end. See you next time.